Welcome to Beyond the Riverwalk, the local weekly podcast that brings San Antonio's most remarkable people, places, and events directly to you. All links discussed will be in the show notes, so sit back, relax, and join Kevin and Melissa Barrett as they ask the questions that you would. Now, let's get the conversation started.
Welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Riverwalk. This is Kevin, and I'm the host tonight. Melissa is going to be joining us in another episode. If you missed her last time, go back and listen to the episode with El Paraiso Original Ice Cream. The episode's getting a lot of notice, and I think you'd really get a good kick out of it. The conversation was all about paletas here in San Antonio and the history that comes from Mexico and the whole community here. It was really neat, so go back and check out episode number 6. And that's Melissa and the folks at El Paraiso Original Ice Cream. But tonight, I am joined by Chad Miller of Chad Miller Auto Repair. How you doing, Chad?
I'm well. How are you tonight, Kevin?
Well, this is maybe the second time we've actually had someone here in the, quote, studio with us. So I appreciate you joining us and talking a little bit about what makes you guys different, because the show we have is supposed to focus and introduce newcomers to the area through what I call remarkable people, places, and events. And I think you guys definitely fit into that remarkable people category. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you got into it. Okay.
Yeah. As Kevin said, my name is Chad Miller, and myself and my wife, Allison, are the owners of Chad Miller Auto Care, located at 6011 Zavala Road. I've been in this industry for about 15 years, and my wife and I decided to go out on our own about 2.5 years ago to kind of change the face and the reputation of what auto care is, or what people think auto care is. Because a lot of people, come into a shop, they have a misconception that they're out to take my money, or they're putting walls up, they're putting bricks up.
Yeah.
And dentists, lawyers, and auto repair centers.
Well, I was about to say maybe computer fix-it folks. I mean, it's just a matter of, I think a lot of people just don't know what happens, in the service area, wherever it is, or in the back room where the work is done. So you just feel kind of threatened as a novice or whatever.
And I think that's you're right. That's a lot of it. They don't know what's going on, with YouTube, with Google, with the ability to research things. People are getting a lot more knowledgeable, which is great for the industry. But they still are a little skeptical. They don't know exactly. I have a great client who's an orthodontist who says, dentists and orthodontists are in the same boat. Orthodontists can just put braces on anybody because no one knows.
Yeah.
Auto repair shops can put brakes on any car because people just don't know.
Right.
So kind of what we started is to tell people, to show people, to let them know it's not a scary venture, and to just kind of reface and retool what people think of the automotive repair shops.
Yeah, and what you talked about, I guess, was that history of people being anxious when they bring the car in. One is that they know there's a lot of cost related to it in a lot of cases. 2, they don't understand the technology necessary, and I put myself in that boat because I had a 1964 Beetle in college, and you could open the back up, look at it, and you saw everything right in front of you. Right. There was no computer boards. There was nothing. Nowadays, you open the hood, and everything's encased in plastic, and it's just... it's scary.
It's intimidating. It is, and you don't know. And one of the biggest misconceptions is you were talking about the diagnostics and the computer.
Yeah.
One of the biggest misconceptions in our industry is that you can just hook a computer up and it's going to tell you everything that it needs.
Yeah, because you can buy those little gadgets.
Yeah, you can buy those OB2 connectors.
Anywhere.
They'll tell you, what the fault is. The problem lies in it's going to give you 6, 7, 10 different options.
Where do you start?
So where do you start? Or do you listen to a parts person at one of the vendors, and they just sell you parts? So that's kind of the misconception that the industry has to fight, and we fight every day. That look, the diagnostic tools only gives you so much information. You have to rely on somebody knowledgeable to extrapolate the rest of that to get the proper repair. And I think that's where a lot of people get a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Because there's such a in-depth. But again, kind of what we do is we make everybody when they walk in the door feel like family. And that's what our shop is, and that's why we were founded. Everybody that comes in, my wife will tell you that everybody's a brother, a sister, an uncle, an aunt, somebody family, and you're going to treat everybody that way, because that's realistically, if you walk into another industry, you hope to feel that same way. So that's what we want to relate to those that come in.
Yeah, that would be the highest standard I would think that people would hope for, is that they could trust. And to me, that's the thing when I think about you guys and I think about the conversations we've had about the way you approach this business, and to me why it's remarkable, is that the what you focus on is not only doing the work, but building trust with the people. So how do you do that? I mean, how do you take someone who's maybe never come there, that you've not met before, or maybe had a referral from a friend or something, and have maybe some positive vibes, but don't yet understand, how do you start building a relationship with people?
That's a great question. I'll tell you one thing I don't do. I don't talk cars to people that come in the shop. Very rarely, because I think the idea of talking vehicles intimidates people. People don't really want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you care.
Yeah.
So I want to know about Sally or Joe, their family, and I just talk. And it doesn't matter, when you come into Chad Miller Auto Care, you can hear people talking politics, which I know is not probably the best thing, but we talk about it. But we can have people on one side and have people on the other, and people just end up getting along. And that's kind of the atmosphere we want to have. Or we'll talk about their children. When you walk into the shop, you'll see pictures of our family, and that's a great icebreaker.
Yeah. Or
you'll see a picture of a Persimmon golf club, and that's another great icebreaker. You'll see, old-fashioned furniture. So we really talk about everything other than cars, and it's not to distract people from that. It's just to let them know that, people really don't care what is broken. They want to know like a couple things. One, how long is it going to be down, and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
They don't care if the flimma-majigger fires a whatchamacallit that triggers a hoodaddy.
That's right.
So that's what we do. We talk about it. I know, families and their anniversaries, and Tony, who is my right-hand man at the shop, he knows people, and when somebody got married. So we talk about that. We let them know that, yeah, your car's important because it's going to get you back on the road. It's going to get your children to school.
Right.
It's going to get you to work. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is actually the person behind the wheel, and making sure that they're safe, making sure they understand the process that's going to happen, and letting them know that at the end of the transaction, we care about more of them as a person and them as a family member than the four wheels they're running on.
Well, there's something you talked to us about. I remember, I don't know if it was maybe one of the first conversations we had, but it was something about doing what the person needs versus necessarily what the person wants. So if I go on YouTube and I'm looking up what my F-150 needs, mm-hmm. and I'm saying, I'm walking in and I'm going, this is what it needs, this is all it needs, don't do anything else, how would you guys approach that?
I would listen. Obviously, as a good shop is going to listen to the client that comes in. You're going to take some copious notes. And then you're going to tell the client, we're going to address the first things that you have going on, but we're also going to give it a good once-over. And we do that for every vehicle that comes in, because we want to make sure that, yes, your problems that you feel are necessary are addressed. We also want to concentrate on making sure that vehicle is safe. So we're gonna look at all. We're gonna present everything to you, and we're gonna allow you to have the choice of what the repairs are. Unless it's something that I think is going to, or Tony or Richard or one of the guys at the shop thinks it's going to be something that's going to be dangerous to you, then we're going to prioritize that first and foremost. We're going to take you out into the shop. We're going to show you what it is. If you're not at the shop, we're going to take a video of it to show you, because we send videos to everybody for things going on. We send still pictures. We send digital reports. So you will always see what's happening at the shop or what's happening to your car. None of the photos that clients get or the videos that clients get are generic stock photos, anything like that. It's of their car, of their problems.
So I may not exactly be the expert, but you're going to show me that the belt is broken or that the brake pads are completely worn down, right? And
correct.
Scraping. So I'm going to be able to trust that because I'm looking at it with my own eyes.
Correct.
And it's my car.
Right.
I'm
it's
going
your
to recognize my car.
I'm not just going to take a stock photo off the internet and say, these are what brake pads look like when they're grinding metal to metal. No, you're going to see that it's your car. You're going to, We save parts too. If people want to see what the parts are like, we save those. We go through different ways to show people how systems work. Ben, who does our social media, puts together a great blog in which he talks about, what the heck is. So he'll say, like, what the heck is and it's a transmission.
Yeah.
Or what the heck is a differential. The best one, though, Kevin, that I've seen him do is, and this is for all of San Antonio and probably all of everywhere else, what the heck is a turn signal?
Oh, my gosh.
So, but
that
he
probably
does that.
got shared quite a bit.
It got shared quite a bit. But it's a great way for people who don't understand what cars are. They can go and it's done in layman's terms. He makes little stick drawings. He's great at that because it's a good way for people to understand the inner workings of their vehicle without getting the technical jargon that just swims in their head.
I mean, when I think about, there's things I do. I have, my day job's a little different than what we're doing here, obviously, and different than what you do. But when I get home and I like working on websites, I like working on podcasts, I like doing that kind of stuff. So I'm comfortable with that. And so I like to think I'm technical, but I'm definitely not what I would call mechanical. So you want to build that kind of that trust. You want to walk into somebody and say, okay, I have this older car like we do. We have an older van. And the concern I would have would be there's probably a laundry list of stuff that needs to be done. And I don't know what's the most important thing or not. And it's all going to probably, if you look at the laundry list, it may be really expensive. So if I come in and say, look, this is an older car. I need to get it going for my daughter or for my, my son's going to college or whatever.
Right.
How do I prioritize what needs to be done? And how would you walk me through that, I guess?
Again, we would listen to whatever your concerns are. If you come in and say, look, we want this car to be safe for my son or daughter going to college, their first car, we would do a general inspection. Yeah. We would look at the whole thing top to bottom. And then we'd prioritize as far as, are the brakes important? The ignition system. So we would take the safety items. The most important things are, does it go and does it stop?
Yeah.
Or
right.
Maybe you can reverse that. Does it stop and then does it go? Because I think you want to be able to stop. So we would address those. At our shop, we would prioritize them. I know there's some shops out there. We're not here to badger, belittle, but there's some shops out there that's going to say, "Hey, you have to do everything or you don't do anything." Yeah,
that's where I was going with this. Is it could be overwhelming, and then you go, "Well, I just can't get anything done."
Right.
So I can't afford all this. So.
Yeah. No, and that's not. I mean, at the good shops here in San Antonio, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But our shop in particular, we're going to prioritize. We're going to tell you, you can do this right now. You can do this at the next oil change. You can do this at the next oil change. Kind of piece it out. As I tell people every day, I don't want to take food off your plate.
Yeah.
You got to eat. I want to make sure your car's fixed, and we do it a little bit at a time. Now, if there's a huge item that does cost a lot, I will tell you, Kevin, I have sold many cars for local car dealerships.
Oh, really?
Meaning I will tell you, no, this car is not worth fixing. Yeah. Take the money you want to put into it and buy something else.
Yeah, because that money, I mean, if they fixed it and did all that stuff and were probably upside down on what they invested, you could make something off of it. But long term, you've lost a customer, I'm sure.
Right, and you want to do what's right. I don't care. At the end of the day, you want to do what's right for the client.
Yeah.
If you do what's right, now I can tell you that if the whole job is a $4,000 job, people are going to kind of stand back and say, "Whoa, it's $4,000." But if you look at the market today, and I just had this conversation with a couple parents from UTSA students, you can't find used cars for inexpensive. Your average monthly payment on a car right now is anywhere between $400 to $500.
Yeah,
which is $4,800 to $6,000 a year. So if you fix a car for $4,000, you might be able to take that car for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You've saved yourself some money in the long run if that's all it is. But you have to understand. I'm no fool. I understand. Sometimes it's easier to come up with $400 a month,
right,
than it is to come up with $4,000 at one time.
All at once.
So as much as you can want to help somebody, you also have to. Tony and I do a great job. I think. I might break my arm saying this, but patting ourselves on the back as far as making sure we do. Again, it always comes back to the client. We put ourselves in their situation 100% of the time and say, what would we want? How would we want to be treated?
Well, and I know people listening may be saying, well, this is big one long commercial, but it's really not, because to me, the point of the whole remarkable nature of what you guys do is what you sort of mentioned a minute ago about the blog. So what y'all are doing is not only doing the work, but you're out there educating people. You're getting onto new media. You're doing things with social. Right. So talk a little bit about why you're doing that versus just running a good shop.
We do a blog, and recently we just started we kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit. I set up a studio kind of similar to yours. We were going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I don't know why it doesn't, because I have the best face for radio. I do.
I'm right there with you.
But we decided to go a little bit further. Facebook, YouTube, some of the other social medias out there. So what we've done is every Sunday night now at 7:30, we actually do a Facebook Live program, Tony and I, from our studio in our house. And we answer questions from people here in San Antonio. We've had questions from people from California, from Florida, from Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So what we're doing is we do that to answer questions to help if they have questions about how to fix something, how to repair something. Maybe they've gotten themselves in a situation that they need assistance with. So we don't necessarily just want to fix cars at the shop. We want to help those people who are in other places of the country understand what's going on with their car. Maybe help fix somebody else's car from a distance.
Yeah.
And maybe, get them comfortable with going into a shop and giving them the questions to arm them with, or arming them with the questions so they're in control of the purchasing process at that shop.
Well, when you think about what you do and the nature of the business or the industry, it doesn't seem to go naturally with the social, the online kind of thing, because it's a traditional kind of mature industry, right? So you guys have kind of turned it on its head. So how is the Facebook Live show? Because I've seen it. It comes on Central Time at 7:30 on Sundays. So how has that been received? What have you seen? You mentioned people from around the country are watching it.
It's starting to grow. It's slow rolling, but it's starting to grow. We've had quite a few views this past week. It's getting the word out there, letting them know, what it's there for, what our purpose is, what our goal really is in that. And it's, you can go online and find how to repair a car. You can find all of that, but that's not what this show's about. It's not necessarily about we're not going to show you how to repair a car. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, you can do all of that and find how to do things. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. But that's not what we set this up for. This is more to, again, as I said, to arm people with the knowledge and going into a shop, to arm them if they have questions. My car's making this noise. What do you think it is?
Yeah.
Just in that way, they feel comfortable in fixing their own car if they want to, or they feel comfortable going to see ABC up in Gilmore City, Iowa.
Yeah. Well, it's called Car Chat Live, right? So
yes, sir.
It really is a discussion kind of show. Mm-hmm. It's not a technical thing, although I'm sure people can ask questions. But the other thing I noticed about it when we watched it and watched it again is that you guys get along great. I mean, it's funny, too. This is not a dry kind of thing.
No, Tony and I have been doing this we started out on radio a few years back with another shop that we worked at. So I think we have pretty good chemistry.
Yeah.
He's the yin to my yang, I guess. I don't know if I'm the yang to his yin, but we do. We have pretty good chemistry. We like to have fun. We are going to give you technical information. We're going to give you opinions, and I have plenty of them when it comes to that. I used to do something called Soapbox Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So now I can do Soapbox Sunday. We talked about state inspections last week. That's another story. But
I can imagine what that was like.
And we talked about legislation. So we'll talk about a lot of different things going on. We'll talk about recalls. But, yeah, you're right. Tony and I have a great rapport. People don't really believe it, but he's the dry humor, but he's funny.
Well, the show itself is great.
He's funny. I'm more the straight man. He's the if you get him on a roll, it's.
Well, I guess the other thing is because it's Facebook, you can comment, you can ask questions that way. You don't have to be embarrassed to get on a call-in show, for example,
Right.
or something like that if that would be bugging you. And the other piece of it is that you guys take it from there and it goes out to YouTube afterwards, right? So
Right.
people can even look it up and see what you guys did last week is there.
Right. It goes out to YouTube. It goes out to Twitter. It goes out to Instagram. And you're mentioning people can be anonymous. They can go ahead and type in comments.
Yeah.
They can send us emails at service@cmautocare.com.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
They can call us, too. We have call-in. We have a way people
Okay.
can call in at 731-CAR-CHAT. We have our own car chat line. So it's 731-CAR-CHAT. You can call us. We can take your questions. If we don't answer it, if you call us Saturday through Sunday after 7:30 or Sunday after 8:30 until Sunday at 7:30, you'll get a machine, and you can leave your question there. We'll go ahead and play it.
Oh, that's great.
We'll play that question on the air, and then we'll answer it.
Yeah, so if you're having something I'm thinking about, I can just leave it and then tune in and get the answer.
And tune in and get the answer, and we'll answer those questions. So there's a lot of ways. Tune in.
Log into Facebook. Man, I'm old.
Yeah, I know,
tune
right?
in. Right.
But so there's a lot of ways to get a hold of us, and it's just getting the information out there to how to do it.
So where do you see, because I guess we talked in the very beginning about how the industry is viewed by a lot of people. Apart from making them nervous, that some people probably look down on things and say, well, it's a different kind of group of people. They know different stuff than I do. Just one way or another, they feel different about it. Where do you see the industry going? Because to me, and this is the whole remarkable thing again, is I can see this setting a tone for where this industry is going long term, because it's focused on the customer, which a lot of other industries have finally figured out, but they haven't here yet. So you guys seem to be kind of blazing a trail here.
We're trying. I see the industry is going, if the industry is right now at a time where we're going to need some help, to be honest. And this is going to get more legislative, more opinionated. So many people look down on the trades right now that they look at auto technicians. They look at plumbers. They look at electricians. They look at this.
Right.
And if you don't go to college, if you don't have a degree, then you're not as important as anybody else. And that's just kind of the opposite. It's going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, the median age of an auto technician right now, and I don't say mechanic because they're not mechanics, they're technicians with the electrical diagnostics, with everything going on, is about 45 years of age.
Wow, yeah, I didn't know that.
So in 10 years, 10 to 15 years, they're going to be gone. We need to really focus on, those students or those young people who are good with their hands, who are technical, who enjoy tinkering, who enjoy electronics, because there's a lot of electrical engineers now getting in the industry because you've got 6, 7, 15 different computers on your car that you've got to figure out. So it's not your daddy's workshop anymore. You know? So you really need to get those young people into trade schools or into technical schools. San Antonio has two great. They have Wyotech. We also have St. Philip's. There's probably a couple other ones I'm missing. There's great places in Houston. There's great places in Dallas, Utah, all over. You can get it. And people think of technicians, greasy hands, not making a lot of money. I'll tell you, there is good money, good honest money to be made in the industry.
Well, there's been a lot of, I guess, in the last couple of years or maybe longer, there's been a lot of in the media at the national level and I guess on Facebook, because I'm thinking about Mike Rowe and what he talks about.
The dirtiest jobs?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he talks
show.
about there's millions of jobs that are just unfilled right now.
Right.
Because people don't have the skills. And I mean, I've talked about the fact that I'm one of them. I don't have those skills the way I would love to. But how do you attract the people that do? Because obviously they're in great demand. You're a single location right now, right?
Correct.
And we're in a big city. So how do you get the good folks that you have?
You treat the technicians right. And it's not just about the clients that walk through the door like we've talked about already.
Yeah.
It's about the technicians that you have. It's about treating your employees not as employees, treating them as your brother or as your sister or as a family member. Tomorrow, for example, we're rewarding our guys. They've worked hard. They've worked their backsides off. I'm grilling steaks. They're all having ribeyes and baked beans and coleslaw and tomorrow at noon, because we want to reward the guys for a great job they've been doing.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way, not only in our industry but in other industries. You don't make the employees hamburgers and hot dogs, and as an owner I eat a steak.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you make the employees ribeyes, and I'll eat the hamburger.
Yeah.
I'll eat the hot dog, because people want to say Chad Miller Auto Care. They want to say Chad. It's not about Chad. It's about Richard. It's about Tony. It's about Mike and Ben, and the technicians we have, and the motor that makes, and the whole pieces that make the engine and the car run.
Yeah.
And that's my guys. That's our guys. And that's how I attract good people. I attract them by taking care of the people who take care of you.
Well, and one of the things that you think about, I mentioned, and we talked about turnover, or at least we talked about how hard it is to recruit people, and I guess where I'm going is turnover. Do you the same thing, I guess, to keep them, to make sure? I mean, what's the team like? How long have you been open, and what's the tenure of your folks?
We've been open for 2 years and 3 months.
Wow,
so
not a long time.
Not a long time. Not a long time. Yeah. And everybody, one person, or everybody except for 2 have been with us the whole time. And
okay.
the 2 we brought in because the demand of cars just kept increasing. We have taken the shop from a 35-car-a-week shop to a 100-car-a-week shop right now.
Wow.
In 2 years.
Okay.
In the next 4 months, we are going to be breaking ground on 4,000 square foot addition to the back of the building.
Okay.
But how you keep good people is you treat them right. Incentive based, give them their insurance that they need. Help them with that. Help them with the little things, and understanding that regardless of what happens, family always comes first.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's going to be another day. If your daughter is sick, or your son is sick, your wife is sick, your husband is sick, whoever it is, your family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And as a shop owner, as any business owner, you need to understand that, because you're only as good as the people who are right there by your side.
Well, one of the things that occurred to me, I guess, is that in looking at the business that you have and looking at the way you run it, are other people picking this up? I mean, are there other places, I guess, that you've talked to maybe around the country that are doing the same approach, or are you guys looking out there to help them do it?
I don't know, but I would love to be able to help them.
Yeah.
I think my personal long-term goal, and the goal that my wife has for me, is to take our business model and promote that, and to not just have it here in San Antonio, or not just have it at our location, but promote it to other locations, promote it to other cities. Say, this is how we're doing it. This is how we have seen success. And that's what I want to. That's what I want to focus on in year 5, year 6, year 7 is taking the business model that we've developed, which has been kind of taking a group of businesses and merging them into what we do today, and not necessarily from the automotive industry. We've taken a lot of business models or a lot of ideas from other business models totally outside of automotive industry.
That's what caught my attention. Is you don't see a lot of these things applied to what you do, but you do see it in other places.
Right.
So when you talk about taking it out, I guess use the F word. So are you talking about franchising, or are you talking about going into just
like
teaching
a consulting,
independent folks?
like teaching and consulting?
Okay.
Doing that. I like the small little one shop mom and pop.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from a town of 500 people.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. Sometimes it can get a little intimidating, but you like it. I love it when people come into the shop and I can say their name. I don't have to, they don't need to give me any information. I can say, Mrs. Steen, how you doing today? How's Bobby doing? I also, what I also like about where we're located and the culture that we have at our shop right now is I have walkers every day that will walk by the shop. They'll come in, they'll sit down, they'll grab a bottle of water, shoot the breeze with us for 5 to 10 minutes, and then go back on their merry way. And that's
like a neighborhood.
It's like a neighborhood. That's what we want. We want that Mayberry type of atmosphere where people feel at home, and that, I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think there's a lot of people that can benefit from that, and it's not just the business. I think the people who come in the shop, the clientele, that they benefit as well. It's some place where they feel comfortable. They can sit down. They can have a glass of water, a soda, a coffee, relax, feel at home, and then go back on their day, and it's put a smile on somebody's face.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask about, and if anybody's driven by the location or has seen the logo online or watched the show, the colors are different than what you would normally see in, the chain stores, right? Or the chain shops. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's one of the questions I had is like, okay, when you look at it and when you look at the color scheme you guys use, what occurred to me was, okay, something's different here. Mm-hmm. Now, was that intentional as part of the branding or
it was. My wife and a good friend of hers, Sarah, started brainstorming some ideas as logos.
Okay.
And we started, and I think I was on a golf course or I was somewhere like that, and they were brainstorming the ideas, and I really love the color orange.
Okay.
My wife loves the color green, but we didn't want orange and green together, too much Halloween. We didn't want black and yellow. We didn't want black and red. We didn't want what people normally, we didn't want checkerboard. We didn't want what people always see. We want something different, something that stands out, that's eye-catching, that's popping. So she came up with the idea of teal, and as soon as we saw it together, it was Katie bar the door. That's it. Nothing. There's nothing. I don't care if you would have given us $1 million. We would not have changed that.
See,
logo.
and it definitely is. It's not a color combination I would have thought of,
Yeah.
But I guess when you try it, it goes and it's like, this kind of does work together. And the feeling I get from it is this kind of nostalgic thing. So it makes me feel like, okay, this, it makes you kind of want, and this is maybe an exaggeration, but in my mind, I'm a little crazy sometimes. When I look at this kind of thing, I'm saying, this is one of those things that kind of makes you want to relax and smile a little bit because you're like, wow, where did that come from? And it makes you curious and everything else. So,
and then when you walk into the shop, you see a big orange wall staring at your face. I mean, where do you go and see a big orange wall unless it's at Home Depot, which remind me, never wear orange going to Home Depot. And that's the only color I wear anymore because orange is the new black.
Oh, gosh.
I go to Home Depot and I'm asked to help every time.
That's right.
So as much as I love the color of orange, I'll tell you, when I go to Home Depot, I'm putting a jacket on.
Where can I?
I don't care if it's 110 degrees. I'm putting a blue jacket on.
Oh, guys, where can I find the toilet flanges? Can you show me? Oh, my God.
I helped 3 people the other day trying to find the right nuts and bolts.
Well, that's
They're like, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "I don't have orange. I have orange. Sure, I'll help you. It's fine."
It's easier to help than to not.
It is, and I told my wife that story, and she says, "Only you, Chad. Only
my gosh." Well, we talked, I guess, a little bit about the industry future, and you talked a little bit touching on, I guess, what you guys are doing in the future. Where are you going in terms of this, I guess, what I would call kind of this new approach? So you're going to continue, I'm assuming you're going to continue the Facebook Live thing. What else are you going to do to, I guess, continue that path of outreach to people and education, really?
Sure. We're going to do the Facebook Live. We're working on right now, Ben's working on the blog and some more information on the blog. I'm working on going to start doing seminars or clinics at the shop. I'm going to do a clinic in August for those college students going off to college.
That's a great
so they
idea.
Can college students and parents, so they can come in, they can see how to check the oil, they can see what's going on with their vehicle. So when they're at A&M or in Austin or wherever they might go to college, they can know a little bit about it. I mean, it's checking the oil, checking the air filter, checking your tire pressures, knowing what these lights mean. So we're going to do that in August. We're also going to do that in September for the UTSA students, the Incarnate Word students, those students who come in from all over to San Antonio and they need a shop. Now, we don't have to be the shop they always go to, but we want to be the shop that can educate them so they can tell their parents, and their parents can feel comfortable that, Sally or Joe, they're checking their fluids and they kind of know what's going on. So we're going to be doing that. Fiesta's coming up.
Yeah.
So what we're doing now is, we really want to be part of the community. We're actually My wife Allie has designed the first inaugural Chad Miller Auto Care Fiesta pin.
A Fiesta medal.
We have a Fiesta medal, so we're doing that.
Now, I want to know. I don't know if you know or not. Are there any other shops out there that have a Fiesta medal?
Not that I'm aware of. I think we're
that's going to be rare right off the bat.
I think, and I've already sold a few. I've pre-sold a few, so we'll see. So we're going to do the Fiesta medal because we do want to be part of the community.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, we're family and community first. All the proceeds for our medal is going to go to SA 2020.
Okay, yeah.
So you can go online and check what SA. If my wife was here, she could tell you all about it. I know that SA 2020 is real big into volunteers and getting the right people to the right volunteers. So that's where the donations from 100% of the proceeds from our medals are going to go to SA 2020.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that because that's one of the things with the podcast we're doing here is trying to get information to new people like us. We've only been here a little over a year, and that would be a question I had: is if I want to get involved in a local organization, where do I even start? Because they're pretty big in this city. There are a lot of them, and they're large organizations. It's not like you're going to go in some communities we've lived in where there are 3 people working at this nonprofit.
Right.
So that's a great idea. So I guess sharing that and promoting it through what you're doing, that should help everybody. So I would definitely encourage people to go out and look up SA 2020
right,
and find out more.
And there's a
about it.
lot of great volunteers and nonprofits that you can go. And that's just the one we chose because it is about community, and that's what we're about. So that's kind of my wife and I thought that went more my wife, I'll give her the kudos, thought that goes more hand in hand with what we're about.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
And so
well, you are volunteering your time with the show and with the seminars you're talking about doing, and with I'm sure answering a million questions a day when people come in or just call you.
And we try to help. It's something that I grew up in small town Iowa. Is you always helped your neighbors. Sense of community. It's what I think San Antonio is great for. It's a great sense of community. It's helping everybody out. I do see sometimes that people don't do it. It kind of upsets me a little bit. Kind of upsets a lot of people. But go out and help your neighbors, and that's kind of again the reason we started our shop. Like you said, this isn't a huge commercial for Chad Miller Auto Care, but it's who we are and what we believe in. We believe in helping somebody out, and it's you help somebody else out, and they're hopefully going to pay it forward. And I think that's the biggest thing we can take.
And that's what impressed me and my wife about it is that it's a different approach to something that you would consider in some cases kind of a commodity. I know there's a lot of technology behind it. There's a lot of knowledge behind it. But when you don't understand that black box, you just see this one as like the one down the street.
Right.
And they're all the same, right? But they're really not. And I think the way you guys are educating folks and all that makes it that much different and that much more interesting to me. And I think that's what people will get out of this episode.
And it's funny because we joke around with it. When people come to the shop, we have fun. Plain and simple, we have fun. Because car repair isn't fun. People don't like to get their cars worked on. Like you said, it can be a scary proposition. But we like to have fun. We talk, we joke, we laugh, we cut up. And that's I think what makes us different too is you walk in, and again, one thing you don't want to talk about, politics and religions. The 2 biggest topics in our shop that I always see clients talk about, politics and religion.
Well, if people are treated like family, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen, but it's also because they feel at ease.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
They're comfortable enough. And you know what they're even more comfortable with? The new chairs that my wife bought.
Oh, really?
I have to put that in because
that was a segue.
That was a segue. My wife, who has done a lot of the designing inside, I went online, or my technicians went online, and they found how to reuse old oil barrels.
Okay.
And they found this outdoor patio furniture that was made out of old 55-gallon drums. They just so happened to have a set in our teal color.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, teal and orange, mind you. So, no, it's not a color that you think is going to be there all the time, but teal and orange. So now we have a teal and orange oil barrel furniture.
That sounds like a photo op.
It's a huge photo op. She wanted to run a contest. You go on, you post it to
there you go.
whatever, and win a prize. So I don't know. But it's fun. It's we enjoy what we do. Yeah. Everybody that comes to work, everybody that comes in the shop, after that initial shock or that initial, hey, I'm a little nervous, they have fun. And that's what it's about. And it's because I guess it goes back to this. There's not a single car out there that's not going to break.
Mm-hmm.
So you treat people right and let them know exactly what they need. You don't have the old grease monkey girly pictures on the wall.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And you just do the right thing by people, and at the end of the day, you can just say you did your best.
Yeah, and that's really all you can do. Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean,
a little deep, huh?
Well, I was going to say, we've talked about this stuff before, but I'm learning more again tonight. And to me, it makes me think about what we do with the podcast and how we can go out there and help more people. I mean, maybe there's a way, apart from just sharing information like we have with the folks we've talked to and the people we're scheduling now, is to try to connect folks and, connect them together, not just with us.
Right.
So there's some ideas that you've already put into my head. So I appreciate that very much.
And we also do we do food drives. So we work with San Antonio Food Bank as well. So if you have goods out there you want to bring, we donate those once a month. We also donate diapers and formula to Any Baby Can.
Okay.
Every January and February we do that, and that's in honor of our daughter Annika.
Okay.
Who we were really taken in by Any Baby Can when she was born 14 years ago, and they helped us through some of her medical problems. So we want to give back to them. So if you're looking for things to do as well, we give the diapers and the formula. We do the food drive. So we try to be community first.
Yeah. Well, I was talking as today I had a problem with my phone, so I had to get my phone replaced. And I was talking to the guy at the store, and he was telling me about how much this city is a big community. And the example he gave was about the Spurs. Now, obviously, the Spurs makes money, right? The players make money. The company does. But this community rallies around it so much because I think in part because they give a whole lot back. Right, you could see it publicly everywhere, and people are out there giving of their time and giving of the money and giving of their name, And I think this is just kind of a version of that in a way. But you guys are kind of taking it from an industry that normally wouldn't. I think
we try. I keep going back to it. It's how I was raised.
Yeah.
I was raised in a town of 500 people where everybody supported everybody else. If you needed that egg for your cake and you didn't have it, you went next door and you got it. Or somebody gave it to you, or that cup of sugar.
Yeah.
And it's always, and that's how I was raised. It's how my wife was raised. It's kind of, and we didn't see it in the industry, when we first started. But we want to take it to that or keep it in the industry that we're in now, because I think that's important.
Well, I appreciate it very much. This has been a lot of fun. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before, but like I said, this has been a kick because I've learned some more stuff, and I'm thinking about some more things that we can potentially do. So basically, let me do a recap, I guess, and tell me if I've got everything straight. So Chad Miller Auto Repair, excuse me.
Auto Care.
I got the other one right.
Nope, Chad Miller Auto Care.
Auto Care.
Auto
okay.
Care.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
CMAC.
See, my brain was there, but the writing wasn't.
I always say CMAC.
CMAC.
But my wife doesn't. My wife says we shouldn't say that, so it's Chad Miller Auto Care.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm going to scratch out my notes because these are for the show notes anyway. I got to get this stuff straight. So anyway, okay. So there, and then when you go to Facebook, same thing. Just search for the name.
Just search Chad Miller Auto Care.
And on Twitter, I noticed it was Chad Miller Auto.
Chad Miller Auto. It is CM Auto Care. We've changed it all to CM Auto Care, so it's
okay.
Got it.
I'm going to stop talking now.
That's all right. It's a little bit easier. My wife, we had everything from Chad Miller Auto to Chad Miller Auto Care to XY. So everything now is CM Auto Care. So
CM Auto Care.
CM Auto Care.
Let me write that down.
You can search it on Google, Yelp,
perfect,
Facebook. Instagram.
And then what I'll plug again, because I think it's just a great use of social media and a great adaptation for this kind of industry, is the Facebook Live show. So it's Facebook Live on 7:30 at night on Sundays here in San Antonio, but it's seen obviously worldwide on Facebook, and you can reach by phone 731-CAR-CHAT. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, good deal. And basically you can put in comments as well during the live show. You can leave the voicemails, and we'll do that. So you'll probably see us out there as well, logging in and listening. I know I've asked one question in the past, and it was just more about ratings, I think, and where people go. Because you see it now on social media and also with Yelp and all that kind of stuff, people rate things all over. And you guys, obviously, y'all have great ratings. But it's a resource, and you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. So I'd say just go to the horse's mouth and ask you guys some questions.
Yeah, and we enjoy it. We enjoy it. Tony and I love to interact with the clients, love to interact with the public, love to help people. I think that's the good thing about Tony and myself is that we do it because we want to help, and we know that we're trying to provide a good thing. And it's, somebody asked me the other day, what's the end game? Why are you doing the Facebook Live?
Yeah.
It's not monetary. I don't, it's not, it's the fact that you can, that person in Sheboygan or Marietta now has somebody that they can turn to get an answer that is not trying to get in their pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
That you're out there to help somebody with an honest answer to a question, and they can also be anonymous. They can just say, "Look, I am so and so. I have no idea who they are." They can ask a question and not feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Well, I really appreciate you doing this. This has been a lot of fun, and I appreciate everybody that's listening to the show. Thank you for joining us again on Beyond the Riverwalk. This is episode number 8. That means there are 7 other ones out there that you can go back and listen to. We've had shows so far about Fiesta medals, about history of San Antonio. Most recently, the show before this one was about San Antonio FC, the soccer team here in town, and their approach and their push through MLS NSA, that group, to get MLS, Major League Soccer, here in town. So I'd encourage you to go back. And if you've got show ideas, you can also reach us at podcast@beyondriverwalk.com. And we're also on all the social media sites as well, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So please share the show. Share information about Chad Miller Auto Care, because I think they're doing a different kind of thing out there. And if you're interested in it and you're even in a different business, I'd imagine that Chad probably be willing to talk to you about his approach to things and how you can maybe adapt it to yours.
Yep, that's what we want to do. We want to help get customers first again.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We will see you again soon beyond the Riverwalk.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Riverwalk. Send your comments, questions, and suggestions to podcast@beyondriverwalk.com. As always, subscriptions to our show are free and available wherever you find podcasts, as well as on our website. Until next week, join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more conversations about our community.